Ah, response video. Yes, festive. Felt like it. You know, people crack because I have a Christmas tree. It's really not a Christmas tree, it's a poinsettia tree. But anyway, yeah, I like lights. I do. It's not, I'm not celebrating it. I have lights in the house all year. See, up here, they're always here. They're always there. Always there. All the time. I like lights. Anyway, that's irrelevant. Okay, due in the morning. Ugh, this is going to be so irritating. So, you know, I play the whole thing. Just be fair. I'll be fair, but it's awful. I'm sure. I haven't.
Here is a nice quotation from
I haven't heard it all yet.
From the narcissistic person shows severe defects in judgment and lacks the capacity for objectivity. Hello.
Okay, whatever. The narcissistic person. You know, this is somehow relevant to a philosophical conversation on the internet, somehow. Somehow this is the productive way to argue. No, I think it's just a waste of time. Narcissism is irrelevant. You either counter-argue what somebody says, I say evolution means we're in big trouble, or you row a boat. You go whatever, walk off a pier, I don't know, pick daisies, but you don't make bullshit arguments, okay, attacking an individual's whatever, their narcissism, which is not even overtly a character flaw that you could prove to be a character flaw. So this is just such fail on its face. This is just absolute nonsense. It has nothing to do with making an argument about a truth theory. You apparently have some sort of truth theory. Well, defend it. And this isn't a defense. This is slander.
Yes, there will be dancing, Inmendham style, further in the video.
Whatever.
But first, isn't it strange how a phrase can stay in your memory for a long time? Years ago, in a conversation
Yes, skanky cunt.
with a friend, he happened to mention religion and said, whatever you ask them, they always answer with a parable. They talk in parables. This reminds me of Inmendham, because he almost always talks in metaphors.
Well, I'd say that's a lie, okay? So whatever you want, I mean, play the game. Pretend that that's the truth, right? Evolution is not a metaphor. It's an explicit diagram, okay? Now, when you get to the idea of consumption and reproduction, yeah, we usually use metaphors because, yeah, I could just show you penises and vaginas. Well, I can't do that on YouTube. I actually can't show you you know, the process. Or I could just show you clinical little videos of spermatozoa interacting with eggs and then the chromosomes combining, and I could explain to you what this process means in the context of the multitude of organisms that will be the byproduct of this process, and that in some species there are 1,000,000 to 1 odds of successfully reaching reproductive age. That's right. 1 in 1,000,000 will make it. 1 in 1,000,000. Yeah, and that might indicate that this game wasn't invented by anything too fucking smart.
As he does in this video about anti-bullshit man. I will try and decipher his real meaning behind the metaphors on the basis of...
Yeah, whatever. The real meaning isn't that complicated, right? Yes, evolution, it's crude forces, okay, and that the sentient beings that have been created as a byproduct of evolution, okay, it's not the purpose of evolution, it's a tool provided to certain organisms because it makes them more capable of engineering their survival. It gives them advantage, like big teeth or big fists or big something. It's like a big stick of, I know how to trick you. I know how to make you run off the cliff. I know how to do all kinds of little sneaky things. And that's all it is. It's just a sneaky tool. And that's why we have it. It's because it made us sneaky. And that's it. It's not, we don't have it for any other reason. We don't have it so we can go fly to the moon and think we went somewhere interesting, except like the Earth's outhouse. or to give you delusional notions of some sort of quantum randomness that you think is engineering your inspirational brilliance that is not very fucking smart. Not even smart enough to figure out that you don't waste time talking about a person's personality when you're arguing philosophy.
What he has said in other videos. It's not very easy, so I may be wrong. So correct me if I am.
Yeah, I can correct you already. Yes, you're likely, there's just no doubt about it. You're going to be wrong. Yeah, that's right.
Inmendham has said that he has the disability risk avoidance. He hates suffering, and because he says life is imperfect, let's stop life.
Yeah, so that's your fair paraphrase of my 6 years on YouTube. Inmendham says, you don't argue the theory of truth I'm proposing, which is that there's a universe of just mechanical, crude process, that most of it is highly uninteresting, and that in little tiny corners someplace it is possible, apparently, okay, through a lot of what might be described as perfect stormery, for eccentric, bizarre things to happen, and life was one of those. It's very rare and unusual chemistry, not common chemistry. And its function is completely non-decipherable, in terms of it has none. It has no serviceable use. It accomplishes nothing.
Of human life altogether, because animals would not understand us when we tell them to not procreate.
Well, yeah, they wouldn't explain. Yeah, we wouldn't be able to. Not only would they not understand when we tell them not to, but they wouldn't even understand the idea of it. Yeah, they wouldn't even understand any element of it because they don't speak languages and they can't understand properties and concepts and categories and do all of that kind of thing. So yeah, they're out of luck in terms of being able to say, hey, do I really want to swim upstream and die? They might not want to do that, maybe, huh? Maybe.
How does he plan to do that?
See, this has nothing to do with the plan to do that, so this is just a video describing in general circumstances that we're basically we're a dying patient, and we can die well or we can die badly. The other metaphor might be is that we're heading for a brick wall or we're heading for a cliff. People can understand these are fair metaphors for unsustainability. Human race has no future. Get over yourselves. Okay, it literally is, 2000, the year 2000. We went over that hump, and what do? We had a whole bunch of new wars, didn't we? Yeah, stupid, greedy, selfish wars over fucking goddamn oil. All right, you really think the human race has a future? You're really that stupid? No, you have a choice. You can die well or you can die badly. And apparently you're too stupid to figure out, yeah, let's die well. I got with a strategy to do this little endgame thing before the whistle blows. Okay, I mean the 2-minute warning is happened, so you got this 2 minutes left. You got to come up with a play. You got to get from here to the end. And whether you do an end run or you do a quarterback sneak or lots of ways to do it. And you can argue about that, but the end game is still getting to the goal, which is, yeah, let's get this done.
Keep in mind, the goal is convincing all people to not procreate.
So she couldn't get that one right either. The lights go up because I'm on a timer. I didn't realize. Yeah. So she can't, 5,000 videos, and she can't even get that one right. I don't need to convince all people. I've argued that all I have to do is the democracy thing. I just have to get a majority to go along. That's all. And I've argued plainly, and the facts are right behind me, and you haven't disputed any of these facts, not one of them, that if we, right now, if we denied the dumbest people on earth the right to replicate the the human population would be in unsustainable. I mean, it would be a decline curve of resulting in a zero termination. Yeah, that's it. It isn't. Getting population to stay the same is the tricky part. Okay, it's either growing or it's shrinking. Okay, keeping it the same is almost impossible. And if it wasn't for the dumbest people on Earth, the 10% of the dumbest people on Earth replicating in excess, population would already be in decline. Most people do not replicate at a sufficient level to maintain human existence. That's the truth. It's not a lie, it's not a fallacy, it's not a fantasy. It's the truth. All right? And deal with that truth. The truth is most people are already behaving as antinatalists. They've already behaving exactly like they need to behave to lead to human extinction. Most people, 80% of people are already behaving that way. I mean, if you don't even have, 80% aren't having 2 kids or less. That's probably somewhere around 60%. But it doesn't matter because the end result is they're still not going to have nearly enough kids to make up for all the kids who don't have kids. So the truth is you got to have more than 2 kids in a way to maintain population, because you have to make up for the number of children who wouldn't choose to replicate.
But he has seen already that almost all people do not agree with him. So he
Yeah, so exactly. So that's exactly the kind of liar, okay, that you're not making a counter argument. Most people don't disagree with me. Most people don't think the poorest, dumbest, stinkingest, rottenest people on earth should be making the next generation. Most people probably don't think it's a great idea that 50% of American children are raised on food stamps in homes that would require food stamps. I bet you most people, if you surveyed them on that simple question, they'd say, no, that's probably not a great idea. And that's what's maintaining human existence. You're just an advocate for idiocracy, okay? And that's all right? You're just such a fanatic, all right? You're going to try to drive the flock, into the jaws of some sort of God machine or something. You're the God botherer. You're the one living on some kind of notion of hope that has no rational basis. None. Zero.
declares them enemies. As far as I have understood him, his enemies are not only procreators, but all people who do not attack them.
Look, the end game is to, just do this straight line thing to the purest answer, which is fail-safe, which is don't play with it. It's too messy, too dangerous. Stop gambling.
So he's preparing for war, or at least...
Yeah, so that clip had everything to do with war, right? Yeah, it's a simple, rational argument, okay? That if there's no mess here that has to be made. No, you just stop making the mess. The straightest line to the solution is just to stop making the problem. That's the straightest line to a solution here. There's no need to create the problem. The problem has no rational basis. It's all based on irrational, phantasmagorical, unrealistic expectations of what can possibly be accomplished, which is you will fail. That's all. It's almost, I mean, I have to almost claim that you're what? You're just sadistic. Okay? It's not so much because it's not your welfare. You're not the one that's going to be living in that future. The future of the horror that's going to take place because humans aren't sustainable. No, you're not one of the animals that are going to have to live in that world. You think, but see, that's the catch of all of this, right? Your stupidity will sentence you in a way to experience the horror. Stupidity creates the waste, and the waste will be experienced by consciousness, and that will be the loss. That will be the price paid for your stupidity, for your obstinance.
Is the fight. He calls it a dance.
you know, there's still, whether they're greater, whether somebody is more to blame in terms of their maliciousness or even their physical interference. Again, you go with the guy who loaded the gun, in my opinion. If that guy, yeah, especially if that guy has knowledge of what loading guns means, which you're opening the door to. If the thing that happened was well within the range of the guy loading the gun. This has nothing to do with the philosophy, right? So I mean, this is just a subtle point where I was just making the argument that if pianos have to fall, if people are going to put pianos in the air and put things at risk, they should get the piano. I mean, if Dew in the Morning thinks it's a good idea, yes, she should get the worst of it, okay? I mean, yes, she should get the absolute worst. Because she's the one that opened the door and said, yeah, I'm willing to accept the risk. So the piano should fall right the hell on her head. That's all I'm saying. It seems fair. The risk takers should be the risk havers. Gun to know could happen. Then, yeah, that's probably the fucker that should get shot with the gun. In terms of individuals fighting for causes. I mean, it's a simple argument about, like, the evil of collateral damage. I mean, you're going to play some stupid game. If you're going to play with dioxin, yeah, it shouldn't be some kid over there that gets poisoned. It should be you. I'm fighting for themes in society. And so, yeah, my program's just basically saying, look, let's make sure we score the goal. That's the first priority, is to make sure we fucking score the goal. And then let's, on top of that, once we establish that this is the realm of solutions that it will create as high a certainty of success. Wow. See, I mean, she's just on the wrong subject. This is not about the philosophy. This is, all I'm saying is look, once we know we've won, okay, then we can be, then you can start worrying about niceties. You know, then you can start saying, you know, cleaning up the battlefield, so to speak. Once you know you have the men and you know you're going to win, then you can start thinking about other peripheral stuff. And so that would be, the peripheral stuff would be making sure the assholes got kicked in the ass. Yeah, that would be just a nice little gravy. Would to have the assholes who made the mess, use them as rags to clean up the mess. Yeah, that just makes it more fun to do your work when you know the asshole who made the mess, their face is in the mess. Yeah, it does. It's like, I'm just saying, if something has to be harmed, you want the assholes to be harmed. I mean, it's not that complicated. But it has nothing to do with the underlying philosophy. Best as possible. And then if you want to fight about what solution we choose, you know, whether we do the end run or the quarterback sneak, it's okay. And I'm advocating, though, first, yeah, let's make sure we score the goal, and I'm going for quarterback sneak as the best plan, but that's a secondary. I mean, it's just no point in playing this without the context of the video where I'm talking about, you know, this more decisive ways to eradicate life on Earth and all that kind of stuff, but it just has nothing to do with the underlying philosophy. So, bravo, straw man, bitch. Consideration. So the fact that I would like to see, you know, assholes have pianos fall on them is not a priority. It's just kind of the, first let's do the dance, and then how well we dance, man, who cares? But yeah, then let's worry about that. But first let's establish that we're dancing, and then we can talk about how to dance better. But I'm just saying that the first priority is suffering's the enemy. And the second priority is, well, if you have to have some of it, you know, maybe kind of cool to dump it on the assholes that created it.
Nobody wants anything from him, and nobody is physically attacking him. But if he's...
Yeah. So her argument is if you ideologically, like, say I could be a non-slave owner in the North, and I could find slavery just totally offensive and disgusting, and I could say, yes, I will go to war with those people because they're complete assholes. So in her opinion, that person would be outrageous. That's wrong. Nobody should have showed up in World War II who Hitler didn't personally slap or in some way insult. So if you weren't personally insulted or threatened by Adolf Hitler, you shouldn't have shown up to fight in the war. That's what this bitch thinks is logical. Right? I mean, that's what you just did, you straw man and cunt. You can't figure out that this isn't a rational or reasonable or fair or decent way to argue. Pathetic. I mean, look, I've made the argument, okay? You think you have a right to play God. You think you have a right to do biological experiments with sentient beings that you can't control. The whole thing can melt down, the kid can be born catastrophic, have all kinds of horror take place to him. You have no control to fix it, no control to undo any of it, and you think you have the fucking goddamn right. And I'm simply asking you to explain, where did you get that right from? Can I see some kind of certificate, some kind of logical explanation for why you think you have a right? Besides saying something stupid like, well, the DNA gave me a uterus. Can you do better than that?
Starts a fight. He must understand that his enemies will not let themselves be slaughtered. To illustrate this, I accidentally found...
Slaughtered, right? So it's the argument is anti-natalism, and what does she say? We're going to slaughter her. So if you say that people shouldn't have the right to conduct biological experiments unless they have some sort of competency papers, some way of demonstrating they have some way to compensate for making a mess, some way to buy insurance that will actually cover the disaster sufficiently, that's slaughter, that's murder, that's assassination. She's evil. Yeah, that's all I can say. She's evil. Evil!
This Russian clip, but it can be any other language. Take it as a symbolism for verbal war, with arguments. But think about the dangers of a real war.
Yeah, well, why don't you do that? Why don't you think about the dangers, okay, of what's facing the human race? The fact that they haven't figured out that violence isn't going to work. Okay, they got drone wars now. Do you think there's any future in that? Do you really think so? I think you're just setting it up, baby. You're just saying, let's put some more on the table. This clip looks like a piece of shit.
Let's start.
Alright, so she bitches about my metaphors, like, standard type metaphors. Car going over cliff, car crashing to brick wall, unsustainable curves or something. Those metaphors are not acceptable, but this crap is.
An evanist appears with a gun behind his back to invite them to dance.
Whatever. The argument from movie clips. I mean, that should be a logical fallacy, right? I mean, of the list of logical fallacies, the argument from movie clips, that should be really in there, shouldn't it?
Let's dance.
Alright, so let's just understand. To implement anti-natalist policy, all that has to take place is the 80% of the people who aren't reproducing at a sufficient rate to maintain human existence merely has to tell the dumbest, poorest, stupidest, dirtiest, stinkingest, cruddiest element of the human population to cut your reproduction in half, even. Just cut it in half. And that's asking too much. That's war. That's shooting people. Yeah. Fuck you. I mean, well, there's no point in arguing it. Yeah, there's no point in arguing it. I mean, you have to understand. I mean, why would somebody go this far? I mean, why? Like I said, she knows the subject's anti-natalism. I mean, how could she figure this is what anti-natalism means or requires? It doesn't require this. It doesn't mean this. It has nothing to do with this. So why would she do this? Because she's a propagandist and a liar. She has no integrity. So why am I arguing with her? Yeah, good point. They're movie actors. Newsflash, newsflash. They're movie actors. God, that's right. Yeah. They kind of look like girly men, actually. They look like girly men. Yeah. It's very round faces. Little man. Minivan. Yes, talking over the movie makes a lot of sense. Putting all this crap. Inmendham appears for the dance. Where's Inmendham? Oh, that's Inmendham, huh? This is retarded. Yeah, so this is, apparently, she watched this movie. Yeah, apparently this is a movie they actually watched. Somebody made this piece of shit and then she watched it. Oh, these are scary people. And you people want these people to reproduce. This is what you want, to take the human race into the future. It doesn't scare the fuck out of you? How much of this are you going to do?
Look at this. These boys can dance.
First, let's do the dance, and then how well we dance. Man, who cares? Alright, fuck it. Yeah, there's no point, right? This isn't a rational argument. It's a waste of my time. Let's just see what she says at the end. I'm not gonna watch movie clips. It's just fucking bullshit. Whatever. Yeah, okay. You're sentencing the world to this. This is going to be the fate. Alright? Billions of people are going to be burned to death, and all kinds of horrible things are going to happen because of assholes like you. You're the one creating the problem, sentencing them to death. You're the sadistic, malicious monster. You have no rational reason to believe the future won't have this in it. And something worse. No rational reason. None. And yet, for what reason? What, quantum irregularity is going to save you? You think that's going to happen? Some sort of quantum thing is going to come to the rescue? Captain Quantum? No. You're going to fail, and you're going to drag a bunch of, people like me, innocent people, with you. And I say, fuck you for that. Fuck you, you irrational, crazy, skanky cunt. Yeah, there you go. Enough said. I thought it'd be more fun than this. I was all festive and everything. No point.